Just make it quick, Geralt.
Well, everyone, as you guessed it, we have a lovely Geralt of Rivia Witcher build for you today, and I have to say, friends, this is not an easy one to use, so I only suggest it if you got the skills for it. So, without further ado, let's dive in.
Winds howling.
So the challenge that we faced here was picking out the right gear that would make sense for if Geralt was actually to become a Helldiver, but trying to keep it all stripped back to, you know, swords and bows and all that good stuff that he's used to. So we're choosing the explosive crossbow because, you know, he does use a crossbow within the game. And then obviously he's known for his swordsmanship, so we're using the cavalry saber because it's the fastest moveset out of the swords. And then, you know, for our throwable, we try to get something that could be useful, but at the same time I wanted to make sure that it wasn't getting away from Geralt, so we actually chose the throwing knives, and I have to say this makes the build a lot harder to use. So choosing out the armor was a little bit of a no-brainer for me. Since Geralt is known as the White Wolf within The Witcher, we chose the White Wolf armor over here, so again, no-brainer at all, it just kind of worked itself out. But then I also wanted to pick out a helmet that made sense. Now we could have also gone for the White Wolf, but I thought that the Champion of the People is really cool because not only does it also kind of align to Geralt over time in his story arc, but I think it kind of looks cooler together in the overall aesthetic. And then, of course, because we are a Witcher, for our cape, we chose the Reaper of Bounties because he's going off on these bounty quests hunting monsters, and we're going to be hunting automatons in this video, so it made a ton of sense to me. So then on to the stratagems. Well, what is a Witcher without the right toolkit? So we have to keep that in mind, but also keeping it within world. So we're choosing first the orbital gas strike because, you know, using gas around us to poison our enemies I think goes quite well with him. Then using the smoke, and now I know this is not a fan favorite, but it actually works out quite well, so use it and watch the video. And then using the spear gun that also has the gas tipped into it as well. And then the gas mine. So we're going to be all about, you know, confusing our enemy, using all of our stratagems to weaken them over time, and work our way through the stratagems as they're placed out to really harm the enemy and finish them off. And then, of course, friends, this is a really big one. Since we don't have, you know, all the vials that Geralt would normally have from The Witcher, we are going to be taking the artificial infusion stim because I think that makes a lot of sense canonically for him. So with this build, you're going to want to start off quietly, but as you can see as I'm approaching the base over here, plans can go out the window. So as soon as we hit the first guy with an explosive crossbow, kind of everyone's alerted over here, but worry not, we start to throw down our gas stratagems from the orbital gas and then the smoke to kind of, you know, choke out the base and also clear out any of the lines of sight on us while we work through the enemy. And then once they're alerted, I'll kick things off with my handy saber over here, go full on Witcher style, cutting through them. Then whipping out my crossbow. The explosive power of this is easily going to take out anything that stands in my way, be it from the smaller guys to, you know, those heavier guys, and also the different, you know, bases that we have to go take out. It can blow those up too, which is lovely. Then also using the gases to our benefit, moving around them, making sure it's choking out the enemy and doing the damage over time and disorienting them. And then also for added bonus effect, we could whip out that spear gun and I could start targeting the men as they drop or after they drop, just hitting them in the face, one-shotting any of the bigger dudes through, you know, their critical spots, or just kind of burning down an area with damage over time, switching back over to our explosive crossbow to kind of mop up a lot of them, and then finishing things off again with the sword. But what happens when you are in the thick of it? So I'm going to start things off with using my explosive crossbow to aim down the enemies, then charging the small peons with the sword over here and cutting them down because, you know, a Witcher fears no one. Then, as you can see, switching to these throwing knives because, you know, they do a lot of damage when you can actually be accurate with it. But there's more men targeting us down, so I'm going to throw some knives. I'm going to switch to my explosive crossbow, work with my teammates to make sure that they are burned down. And you can also see that I've been using the gas again on this base. So we have the gas called in. It's burning the enemy down. I'm shooting in my explosive crossbow to really work with my team and kind of clearing out that objective. And then calling in, again, more smoke to really break out the visual line of sight that the enemy has on me. So you can see it's going to affect their accuracy over here. And again, moving around, my teammates are calling in explosives. I don't want to get too close to the objective, but I still want to be supportive. And we can quickly just secure that area, just like that. So the objective is done now, but there are some men left over, so I always like to take on the stragglers directly with my cavalry saber whenever I can, because it's a lot of fun to use. So we're just going to mop them up over here. So what's fun about this build is you could also ambush the different patrols quite well. So you can see they're coming through the valley. I'm aiming down my explosive crossbow. They're kind of cornered over here, so we could easily take them out because, you know, they don't have much to run to. Then we're going to switch over to our throwing knife because this will do a ton of damage. He's already wounded, taking out this heavy devastator with only a couple throws just like that. So as you can see, there's another patrol coming over here. So we're going to be using our explosive crossbow from a distance, mowing them down as they try to get close, then using our sword if any guys do come within range, because that guy had a sword, so it's only fair. Now there's some devastators over here, so I'm going to get nice and close, use the explosive crossbow around their shield, just try to take them out real fast. Some more men, I'm going to again chop them down because, you know, how dare you fire at me. Then I'll move again once more through this valley and see where I'm heading towards. But unfortunately, I've been bot dropped. Now, friends, don't panic when you're bot dropped with this type of build. Use your tools to your advantage. Again, using the explosive crossbow to start out, but there's men all around me. I need to be very careful about this. I'm going to call in my stratagems just to kind of break line of sight with the smoke. Try to get out of the zone, but it is pretty bad. It's bogging me down, and I'm cut off from my team. But again, using my other stratagems, I'm going to call in the gas mines. Now, this will allow them to stumble into them, take some damage over time while they also can't see, allows me to escape if I wanted. And then, since they're all grouped up, I'm also calling in the gas strike over here to help finish them off. And they brought in a tank, but the explosive crossbow is actually great about taking out those tanks as well, so fear not. Then it's up to you, just mow everything else down. You're not going to have too much of a problem if you know... can shoot them without them seeing you. So I always suggest you trying to use tactics to your advantage, as you see over here. Okay, so we're going to have fun clearing out the rest of them. I'm going to use my spear gun to really just one-shot these hulks because, again, shooting through the faceplate, it's going to do a one-shot kill. Switching over to the explosive crossbow to shoot out the small mobs. But then also using my throwing knives because they are fun to use. Don't be too afraid about getting shot by these little dudes. Take your time, aim well, and you'll be one-shotting these guys, as you can see over here. Then again, there's probably going to be some other hulks and things left, as you can see, so I'm going to switch again to the explosive crossbow and easily just take him out just like that. Then, of course, mopping up more men with the sword because, again, that's the favorite thing of this build is using that sword. Have so much fun with it. It's great. Don't be afraid of getting up and close. Then take out everyone that's coming at you that is in a horde with the explosive crossbow. Throw those stratagems and try to break the line of sight. And, again, try to work with your teammates if they're there so that you can get going and move on and be helpful so you're not bogged down for too long in an area. So I'm using that smoke and I am getting away and letting our explosives from my other teammate do a lot of the other work to clear out the rest of the horde. And I'm going to move on from here, so let's get going to the next area. So we have another big base here, so let's put together all of the things that we've gone over into one thing to move through this base very quickly, and I'll show you that. So, charging this enemy, using our throwing knives to quickly dispatch them so that we don't have any guys shooting machine guns at us. Then working up this little area over here, I can see that there's men on the side, so I'm going to quickly dispatch them as well with our explosive crossbow. Using the cover of the different explosions so I have my teammates to help me out. And then making sure that we're not running in front of the gun turrets if we see them marking the base, because don't be stupid and get yourself killed needlessly. But let's work around them. So I could see that, I do have some stratagems. I'm going to call them in directly on top of the gun emplacement, hopefully taking out and doing damage. But the impact damage typically does not kill the turret, as you can see. So I'm going to have to be smart and be strategic. I'll use the damage over time to pull aggro away, and I'll shoot the back of it with the explosive crossbow. I'll work with my teammate over here and see, hey, what's left that I could take out, really assess the situation that's going on, and use the explosive crossbow to shoot those fabricators, because quickly kill them if you can, be accurate and get your shot on as you need. And now on to exfil. Since we were very efficient with going around the map and taking out bases, this is not going to be too hard for us, but let's use our spear gun to shoot the gas into these devastators, take them off the point. They're really the only thing that's kind of guarding this. Make sure that there's no one left standing to really get in your way. And once we clear this out with the throwing knives as well and finishing off these enemies, I could have been using my explosive crossbow, but I wanted to have a little bit more fun over here. We're just going to go in and call in the beacon, and I'm going to throw out the smoke, I'm going to throw out the gas mines and the orbital gas just to really protect the area and give us a pretty easy exfil. As you can see over here, no one really came. It was quite rare. Normally you're fighting tooth and nail to get off these planets, right? But again, if you do a good job, you'll typically not get bogged down. There's just some small little patrols over here that we had to take out. And yeah, so with that, we were able to successfully extract and get off this planet. And as you can see, we were no slouch with this build, and we did get a decent amount of kills helping out our team. Well, again, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, be sure to click that like, hit the bell to get notified for my next video, and be sure to use those hype points because it helps us out and lets us continue going on this little journey of ours on YouTube. Well, friends, we'll catch you in the next video. Take care, everyone.